students, in today's lectures we will be seeing the inguinal hernia. In last lectures we have been seeing hernia in general. The hernia, what do you mean the hernia, then etiology of the hernia and the classification of the hernia in general. Today we will see the particular hernia, the inguinal hernia. The inguinal hernia, it is the commonest type of the hernia among the all hernia. Among the all hernia, it is the commonest one. As you have seen last lecture, in about 70 to 75% the cases there is an inguinal hernia. Now, what do we inguinal hernia? It is protrusion of viscous or part of viscous through inguinal canal, So, what is the inguinal hernia? It is a protrusion of viscous or part of viscous through inguinal canal. So that's why it is called inguinal hernia. It is as I already said, it is the commonest type of the hernia. Among all the hernias are there, according to site of the protrusion type. Hope that you know the anatomy of the inguinal canal. We will discuss with the process of the mechanism of the herniation there. Then the etiology. The etiology is same as we have discussed in previous lecture. Or the first, the weakness of the musculature. Second, increase in intra-abdominal pressure. Chronic cough or violent cough and chronic constipation. These are the causes of the inguinal hernia also there. Just follow the previous lecture of the hernia for the etiology. Then, so here herniation occurs through this inguinal canal. This is an inguinal canal. Inguinal canal. This is deep inguinal ring. And this is the superficial inguinal ring, and this is the scrotal sac. So herniation occurs through this canal is called as a inguinal hernia. Now classification. Inguinal hernia has been classified in different types on the basis of various factors. The two classifications that already we have been seeing there. So, but again I will discuss that are number one, on the basis of content. B, on the basis of complications. As already we have discussed these two types of classification. Then as you can see, on the basis of extent, then D, on the basis of site, of protrusion, and last one classification is on the basis of reducibility, on the basis of reducibility. Now, we'll say on the basis of the content already we have been seen. Or this classification here on the basis of the content of the hernial sac. That is One is enterocoel, enterocoel. Second is omentocoel. Third, enteroomentocoel, omentocoel, and fourth one that we have been seeing, the cystocoel. Sometimes nephrocoel is also there. As already seen, we have seen that what the enterocoel means what? There is a protrusion of the coils of intestine, or the hernial sac contains the coils of intestine. Then it is called the enterocoel. Then omentocoel means this protrusion of the omentum from the abdomen, and omentum lies into the hernial sac. Then it is called omentocoel. Then enteroomentocoel, both coils of intestine and the omentum or part of the omentum, they protrude into the hernial sac. Cystocoels, where part of the bladder, urinary bladder, it protrudes into the hernial sac or out of the abdomen. Then it is called the cystocoel. Sometimes nephrocoel also there. Kidney may be protruded, but it is a rare one condition. So this is on the basis of the content of the sac. Content of sac. Now, how will you differentiate that? Either clinically, either there is a enterocoel or the omentocoel. How will you differentiate? So, if you see, clinical features are there. When you examine the swelling or the sac, so there will be, if enterocoel is there, so there will be, you see, the peristaltic movement, which is usualized. When in case of enterocoel, when omentocoel, there is no peristaltic movement. When no peristaltic movement. On palpation, if you palpate, in case of enterocoel, it will cystic. While here, in omentocoel, it is duffy. On auscultation, in enterocoel, we will get the intestinal sound. You may hear the intestinal sound. While in case of omentocoel, when you auscult with the stethoscope, it doesn't get the sound. Because momentum doesn't produce the moment, and intestine produces the moment and produces the sound. Then on the reducibility, when you reduce the content of the sac in enterocoel, it can be readily reduced. There may be difficulty in reducing the first part, but latter part it will easily reduce. While in omentocoel, it is difficult to reduce. Sometimes the first part may easily reduce, but second part is very difficult to reduce. Sometimes may not reduce. So that are the difference between enterocoel and the omentocoel. While diagnosing, we will try to see this one. Then on the basis of complication, I seen in the previous lecture, on the basis of complication, the hernia may be uncomplicated or the complicated. Uncomplicated and the complicated. If only simple there is herniation is there, don't have any underlying pathology, other pathology, then it is called uncomplicated. And complicated hernia, along with the protrusion of the viscus or the part of viscus, if there is any other pathology like inflammation, obstruction, any other one there, strangulation, then it is called as a complicated hernia. Then, next, on the basis of the extent, on the basis of the extent, hernia is classified in the two types are there. One is incomplete and second is complete. Incomplete and the complete. Now what do I mean incomplete? Incomplete hernia means the herniation occurs through the inguinal hernia, but the protruded part or the hernial sac doesn't reach to the bottom of the scrotum. You understood? Incomplete hernia means the herniation occurs through the inguinal canal, but the inguinal sac or the content of this inguinal sac or the protruded part doesn't reach to the scrotum. Then it is called as a incomplete hernia. This incomplete hernia is usually the indirect hernia. Indirect hernia is incomplete there, and these three type of incomplete hernia is there. And these are number one, bibunosin. Number two, funicular, and the number three is vaginal. It's called vaginal hernia or scrotal hernia. Scrotal hernia. Scrotal hernia. So, incomplete hernia is a hernia where the content of hernial sac or hernial sac itself doesn't extend up to the bottom of the scrotum or the whole into the scrotal sac. And usually which hernia is the incomplete? The indirect inguinal hernia is a mostly incomplete hernia. We'll see what about indirect hernia in later classification. Now this incomplete hernia is a what three types? Bibunosin, funicular, and the vaginal or the scrotal. Now what do by the bibunosin? The herniation occurs through the deep inguinal ring. The part gets portrayed through the deep inguinal ring, but this extends only up to the somewhere into the inguinal canal. It doesn't comes out through the superficial inguinal ring. Means hernial sac, it lies into the inguinal canal in between the deep inguinal ring and the superficial inguinal ring. Then it is called a bibunosil. Bibunosil and swelling seen into the groin above the inguinal ligament. Then it is called a bibunosil. Funicular hernia, the hernia where sac, hernial sac or the viscous or the part of the protruded, it comes out through deep inguinal ring and then comes out again to superficial inguinal ring. But it reaches only to the top of the testis or the in the scrotum. In the scrotum where at the top, then it is called as a funicular hernia. Why it occurs? It occurs due to that vaginalis, process vaginalis is a patent up to somewhat extent, but not complete. Here, bibunosil occurs when process vaginalis is not patent. Not patent. If not patent, it doesn't allow this part protrude or comes out to the superficial inguinal ring. But in case of the funicular hernia, the process vaginalis is patent up to here. So that's why the hernial sac comes up to here, up to the top of the testis. Do you have got? Then third type of the hernia is what? The vaginal hernia. Usually this is called as a complete one. This is called as a complete one hernia. Complete hernia where the hernial sac it reaches to the bottom of the scrotum. Bottom of the scrotum. It occurs in cases. It occurs in cases where the process vaginalis is patent throughout its length. In this case, the swelling seen into the scrotum and the hernial swelling cannot be differentiated or separate from the testis. So, you understood? Then next one is complete hernia. Means where, as I already discussed, where the protruded part or the hernial sac reaches to the bottom of the scrotum. Then it is called the complete or the scrotal hernia. So this is according to what? The basis of the extent. Means where it gets extent. Now, so next one classification is on the basis of the site. On the basis of site from where it gets protruded, there are the two types of the hernia. Classification on the basis of site of protrusion. On the basis of the site of the protrusion, the hernia is classified into two groups are there. That is number one, indirect inguinal hernia. and second is a direct inguinal hernia. Direct inguinal hernia. Indirect inguinal hernia means what? The indirect inguinal hernia means the herniation or the protrusion occurs through the deep inguinal ring, travels through the inguinal canal and comes out through the superficial inguinal ring. Comes out through the superficial inguinal ring. So this hernia is called as a indirect inguinal hernia. So do you understood? The indirect inguinal hernia is the hernia where herniation occurs through the deep inguinal ring, travels through the inguinal canal and comes out through the superficial inguinal ring. Then it is called as a indirect inguinal hernia. This may be incomplete or the complete. In incomplete, bibonacil and the funicular. Complete, scrotal. So do you understood? Then direct inguinal hernia. The direct inguinal hernia means the herniation or the protrusion, it occurs through posterior wall of the inguinal canal through or at the Hazelback triangles. At the Hazelback triangles. Hazelback triangles. Hazelback triangle. Hazelback triangle. Where herniation occurs through Hazelback triangle is called a direct inguinal, and then it comes out through the superficial inguinal ring. It's mostly the complete hernia. Which one? The direct inguinal hernia. So do you understood? Then next classification on the basis of reducibility. On the basis of reducibility. On the basis of the reducibility, hernia is of the two types. One is reducible and second one is irreducible. Reducible and the irreducible. Reducible means what? It is a type of the hernia where whatever the protrusion occurs, it can be reduced or can be returned back into the abdominal cavity. Either it is reduced, automatically when patient lie down and will compose when standing and while coughing or while passing the stool. Otherwise it goes. Or sometimes it will be manually reduced. It can manually reduce. Such type of hernia is called as a reducible hernia. This is occurs when there is a protrusion of the coils of intestine. There is no adhesions or no any complications. Then it can be easily reduced. Then irreducible means what? Once protrusion occurs, it doesn't return back or cannot be pushed back in the abdominal cavity. Then it is called irreducible hernia. Do you understood? Reducible and irreducible. Reducible means whatever the protrusion occurs, that can be reduced or can be returned back into the abdomen. In irreducible hernia, it cannot be returned into the abdominal cavity. It remains there when it gets protruded or purged in the sac. It is called irreducible hernia. Irreducible hernia occurs when there is a content of the sac is the omentum or there is any adhesions are there. Adhesions are there. So do you understood? So there is reducible. Lastly, hernia also can be classified on the basis of the nature of sac. Nature of sac or time of occurrence one there. That is, one is congenital hernia, and second is acquired hernia. Acquired hernia. Congenital hernia means what? Where hernial sac or hernia it presents from the birth, or hernia sac which is already present before the birth and the protrusion may occur later after the birth. But sac is present before the birth or with the birth, that is called a congenital hernia. And Mostly the indirect hernia is a congenital hernia. Indirect hernia is the congenital hernia. Then acquired hernia. Acquired hernia means what? The congenital sac is not present by birth. Not present by birth. This sac develops later. It's formed by the peritoneum. So last. So acquired hernia is what? The hernia where acquired hernia is that hernia where the hernial sac is not present by the birth. By the birth. Isn't it? And mostly the direct hernia is always acquired. It is not usually congenital. So you understood? So this is and a classification of the inguinal hernia. So we have been saying inguinal hernia is etiology, then it's a classification. Hope that you have understood up to this. Remaining regarding investigations of the hernia, inguinal hernia, and the complications and treatment of the inguinal hernia we'll see in next lecture. So this is about the inguinal hernia.